clicker in it that will teach us how hard we have to push in the center of the chest. Hard and fast in the center of the chest, about 2 inches down. And with the clicker, we know that we're doing it right. And you'll really get to learn how hard it really is.
That is, I think, the biggest obstacle for a lot of us would be that, Mary, this is what I'm most afraid of, but I'm up for the challenge. I feel that on a doll or on an apparatus like we're going to be seeing here in a few seconds, that I could actually do it. But I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to hurt a human.
Sue had a great point for that. I love this. Again, today we're talking about hands-only CPR. We will not be putting our mouths on the dowels. This is hands-only. It's a new streamlined recommendation. But Sue had a fabulous point about hurting someone. They're already dead. They have coded. So you are starting CPR because they're not breathing, they're non-responsive. That is the key. Do something to help them until help can arrive. And so this is the best option. You can't hurt them any more than they already are. If you do nothing, it's much worse. I mean, clearly, delay until ambulance comes or first responders get there could absolutely mean there's no way to resuscitate the person. So the quick action is key, and so you're not going to hurt them. I love when she said that. They're already dead. You're not going to hurt them. I thought that's genius. It's perfect. Very true.
I have to say this, I'm really enjoying the scarf you have on today, your young Sue. I realized when I came in, I'm like, you're redded out. You got your awesome pin on. You've got your awesome pin on. I figured that you got the heart. So how's it going? I'm going to hand this over to you. Why don't you chat a little bit and explain to our audience a little bit about what we're going to be doing today?
Yes, hands-only CPR can increase a person's chances of survival 3 to 4 times. Basically, if you have suffered sudden cardiac arrest, you have no chance. You are dead. So the idea is to push hard and fast in the center of the chest to keep that blood flowing, that oxygenated blood, keep that blood flowing to the heart and the brain, so that person has a chance. And they've found that hands-only CPR is just as effective, except in children and drowning victims. So, and anyone can learn it. It's a very basic principle, and the person is dead. So even if they do end up with broken ribs, it's better to have broken ribs than to be dead. So, and there is a good chance you might break someone's ribs, but they're alive. So the idea, and they're starting this all over the country to increase the awareness of hands-only CPR that can greatly increase a person's chances of survival. So 360,000 people will die this year of sudden cardiac arrest, and only 90 to 95% of those will die.
All right, so I want to play around with this a little bit. I think this is really, really cool. Okay, so I'm going to come over on this side. Steve, are you going to join us over here? Come on over, Steve. Steve, of course, executive on-site producer. Thank you to Brendan as well. I'm going to give you this mic because I want to try this with everybody. So, let's...
Sue said there's a few steps that
There
are
are
key
a few
no matter
steps. Yes. Annie, are you okay? Annie, answer me. Okay, Annie is not answering us. Annie is clearly in distress. The first thing we do is we call 911. Or if someone else is in the room, I say, Rick, call 911. I'm going to start hands-only CPR. But if you're by yourself, I'm going to call 911 before I start the CPR.
So that to me is a really awesome point. You got to just be logical about this. So the first thing is, okay, you see that there's a problem, number one.
Yep.
Number two, let's call for help, which would be something really, really crazy. But I will tell you, when my wife collapsed on me once, it was my daughter, who was very little at the time, who was the one that I was crying. I literally was freaking out because I'm like, oh my gosh, she's going to die. My daughter's like, she picks up the phone, she dialed 911, and she actually was the one that got the ambulance over. And I realized afterwards I was totally fueled by my emotion at that point in my life. I was freaked out. I came home from work, she collapsed, hit her head on the floor in the kitchen, and that was that. So, but that's a great point.
Terrifying. Yeah, so definitely, that's a good point about teaching your kids 911. You know what I mean? Making sure that they know. That's so scary. Bravo her, though, that she did that she could, because it is easy to just, your first reaction, especially when it's family, is to just, freak out. I know that I would too, absolutely. But I think the Annie, are you okay kind of thing. I remember they used to beat that in our heads when we learned that as children in school.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Thanks. Because it could be someone that's just passed out. Are you supposed to listen for air? Are you still supposed to do that?
Well, you want to make sure that they are unconscious. They also may be gasping for breath. You do still want to start it even if they're gasping. Yes, you want to start hands only CPR if they are gasping for breath. Yeah. Yeah. So, but if you're sure they're in distress, you start hands only CPR. And another interesting fact is 88% of sudden cardiac arrests happen at home. So the chances are that you may be doing this for someone you love and care about. Also do it for a stranger if you see them, but know these steps and know these steps ahead of time so you can stay calm and you make sure that, and they're a child, that's where they could call 911 and you can start hands only CPR, you know. So just some very important steps to know ahead of time so that we're aware of what we need to do.
So that would be the first thing. First thing would be, Annie, or, basically you're saying, are you all right? You just want them to respond.
And if they're not responding, then yes, we know they're clearly in distress. We need to start. I mean, if they're speaking, then no, but if they are basically out and they're not responding, we need to start CPR.
Can I ask a question that, I know don't want to put you on the spot, but to go ahead, what if someone's actually having a seizure or something and they're not responsive? Should you not do that then and wait until you just call 911? Maybe they would be able to tell you to start it or not?
I don't think with a seizure you would start hands only CPR. Right, because a seizure, they haven't suffered sudden cardiac arrest. So, I'm not really sure on the exact steps for that.
911 for
No,
sure.
that's great. I'm with you on that, yeah.
Through that, I think there was some things with tongues or something that I had heard of, but 911 could walk you through that as far as a seizure. So that
Great one-liners about the tongues. I'll stop. I'm sorry, I'll stop. We're being serious here, Federici. Just stop it. Thanks to Steve and Brendan and everybody here. Well, and I think this setup, we want folks to know when you analyze and focus on what we are all doing here today, Mary and I, of course, trying with Younger Life Live, we want to try something new every day, whether it's food, whether it's, a new exercise. I really wanted to get myself, more in tune with this again. It has been years. I mean, it's easily has to be over 2 decades since I've done any of this. So I'm just really excited that you are showing this. Folks out there are probably wondering, are you, I don't mean to throw you on the spot, but are you certified to do this? Like, is this like something that you have, or explain how you got into this? I'm kind of curious.
I had training through Medtronics when I went for my women heart training. Yes. At Mayo Clinic, Medtronics came in and they asked me to be part of the Heart Rescue Project. If you were willing to be part of that project, then they trained you then to be able to go out and train other people to do hands-only CPR, because the Heart Rescue Project, the idea is to increase these sudden cardiac arrest survival rates so that more people can survive and that we can teach a lot of people quickly. Not everyone is going to go out and take a CPR class. People are very intimidated sometimes by putting their mouth on a stranger's mouth. They don't necessarily want to do that, or people also get scared and confused. They think, oh my gosh, it's how many chests, how many breaths, I'm just not going to do anything. So the idea behind this is just to teach a lot of people, and so I have committed to teach 100 people a year, and so I've been doing that. I've been doing it in the middle schools, which is about the youngest age that can actually do this. But it is important that children younger than that know to call 911, and so they can help in that way. So, but middle school children are usually capable of pushing hard enough in the center of the chest. So it's just to get the word out there so we can increase the sudden cardiac arrest survival rate. So because they just are, because like I said, only 5 to 10% of these people survive. But if you can keep that blood flowing through the body to the heart and the brain till defibrillation gets there, then you can increase a person's chances of survival. 3 to 4 times, they say, is what it actually increases their survival rate. So yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, so what are you thinking, Mary? Are
I
we?
think great. I think would you mind to show us? So you
Yeah,
try to rouse her, you call 911.
We called 911. Annie is not responding. So we want to put one hand in the center of the chest, okay, and we lock our other hand on top of that, and then we're going to push hard and fast. Now they say like to the about 100 times a minute, like to the beat of the song "Staying Alive."
So can you demonstrate? I'm not being a goofball,
Yes, no.
but can you demonstrate? So when you're staying alive, staying alive. Well, I mean, I can see that. Okay.
I've not clicked mine yet.
So
And you have to keep doing this until defibrillation. So if there's other people to help you,
Just not pushing hard enough.
well, and I'm not gonna say, but I watched, and that's a great point. I'm locking them. I'm watching Sue. She locked her hand.
this part of your hand, Mary.
There you go. I clicked Annie's just.
Oh, wait, no, wait, we up here. You sing.
Staying alive.
Staying alive. What did you just say? I'm staying alive. I'm keeping alive. Is that what you're saying?
No, staying alive.
that's
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
You think that they actually thought of that when they were doing this, or what?
That's a great.
That is
a
so
great.
I mean, it's the perfect song because it's staying alive, and you're thinking about that when you're helping this person stay alive. And that's also like, if you're thinking of that in your head, that's how fast you have to do it.
Oh, that is hard.
That is hard. You think what we've been doing this 20 seconds and think you have to do this for till help arrives. Like goodness gracious.
Yeah. So most people, they get tired. Yes, then you can trade off because it is very, very tiring.
Can I tell you, it's hard when you switch around. You have like if I had my left over my right, that's the arm I write with is my right. When I went to flip it around, that is super hard. The other way, it's like, and I'm not a wimp. I mean, I'll do it.
It's just different. It's just harder. That's what I
I'm
said.
just thinking of all the songs that, Born to Be Alive, Alive by Pearl Jam. I'm thinking of all these songs with Alive in it. Can any of these other ones, but, whatever.
Beat.
Yes.
It's the beat more than anything, right?
Sure is.
Yep. Wow. See, look, this is all she is. And it's that difficult. So on a person, small or large, you can't imagine how much harder. Goodness, that is like working up a sweat doing that. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
That's really incredible and important. And I could see now why middle school age children, I mean, any younger, even some of them, I think of my 5th grader. I don't know that she could do that,
Some very tiny, the more petite children, they have a rough time. They have a rough time actually doing it.
Is there a spot we have to be exact on, or just center of the chest is
Center of the chest, yeah.
your best guess and go
I hate to be weird here, but would you mind? I'm gonna try something. Don't push down on my chest though. But I'm very curious about this because like I don't have a chest to begin with. Like I'm not a built dude, but I'm like really skinny here. So you're pushing where? Like right here?
Yeah, probably like right here.
But you're pushing down right here?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's why it is very common to have cracked
If I lay
ribs.
down and I wanted to like be the example dude right now, would you break my ribs? I'm just kind of curious.
Well, I wouldn't actually do it on you because you're not unconscious. So. But yeah, if you're unconscious, I'm going to break your ribs.
You want to know what? I'm just saying this. I want people to know that are watching or listening. This can be scary because I'm thinking as just a man that I wouldn't want to hurt anybody. Most importantly, I want to save someone's life.
Right.
And I think that once you did it now, obviously you've probably been in this situation or been asked this question. What if you get to the point where you're actually doing the proper procedure and you're on their chest and you feel something happen? I'll just say you feel something happen. Do you keep going?
Keep going. You just keep going. Cracked ribs. I actually had cracked ribs. I mean, I was like, this hurts so bad. And they're like, yeah, you probably have cracked ribs because, at IU Health, they started after they called the code blue. In fact, I know the woman here that started CPR on me. I didn't know it until sometime later. She came up to me and she said, I did CPR on you. I was like, oh my gosh, I love you, and I hugged her and it's great. And, so yeah, they said, well, you probably have cracked ribs. I was like, this hurts so bad. So, hey, I'm alive. I'm alive. I can live with those cracked ribs,
You're better than the alternative. Absolutely. For those listeners of ours that didn't get to hear Sue's story, Sue actually had sudden cardiac death, right? Here when she brought herself to the hospital, which still is incredible. Came in and said, I think I'm having a heart attack, and then went unresponsive. And so they had to start CPR immediately. So that's why, Sue is such an advocate for this. I think it's fantastic. And I know it's definitely, made me think about it a lot more and talk to the kids about it a lot more. And my husband, it can happen. You don't have to be a sick person. And that's why it's so important. These things are life-saving, life-changing, and everybody needs to know them. It's just, it is surprising how difficult it is. I love the clicker, though, because it lets you know you're doing it right. It lets you know you're doing it at least correctly. And is there, if someone is interested in taking a class or, actually to take CPR in general or to just do the hands-on, is there any place that they can go, or someplace they could call, someplace they could go to find out?
Well, I think that IU Health LaPorte Hospital teaches the regular CPR classes. And, if you are so inclined, that is a good program still to do. It's still good to know the other CPR in case, like I said, this isn't really the ideal treatment for children or for drowning victims. Still, if you run across a child or a drowning victim and you don't know how to do the mouth or you're not comfortable with the mouth, then still do the hands only, because you still increase their chances of survival. The thing is, with a regular adult that is just collapsed, this is as effective as with the mouth. So that's the whole thing. It's just as effective, but there are cases where it's not. So they do offer those regular CPR classes here at IU Health. There's not really, I believe, any hands-only CPR classes that I know of, but there are hands-only. Okay, there are hands. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know about that, but there are hands. Someone could call the hospital.
Look up Red Cross, maybe. The Red Cross one, maybe at least direct you somewhere. If you were to Google that and put in our location, maybe they would have classes available. I think it is important to become trained, and I think practicing on the dummy is so key, because knowing the facts is true, but I think it is a little bit of an eye-opener to see it takes a little more effort than you think. So I think that's important.
And I'll also tell you this story. Don't think that this isn't ever going to happen to you, and me of all people, someone that had suffered sudden cardiac arrest, this past summer, my son and two of his friends, they were out water skiing on the lake, and they were coming back, so they were out by the island, and they walk by and they see a man slumped over the guardrail. And I guess they kept on walking, and then they started talking, and then they were like, well, maybe, was he just taking a break, but maybe we should go back. So they did go back, and they did call 911. They did start CPR, and he was a big guy. He probably weighed about 250 pounds. So it took all three of these young 18-year-old boys to lift this guy and get him flat, but they were able to do it, but it was like dead weight because he was dead. And so then they did start CPR, and they did try, but unfortunately he didn't make it. But he may have been there for a while. But that's why it's so important to get the word out there, like what people need to do, and to know that yes, it is the number one cause of death in the United States.
Heart attack every 43 seconds, remember?
Wow.
Yeah.
We've said that over and over this February.
Yes. And a heart attack can cause sudden cardiac arrest, and also other things can cause sudden cardiac arrest. Many times it happens without warning, where the person just, slumps over. Um, so it's just so important to know this.
Can I ask about your son and his friends? Were they, I mean, I hope they were proud of themselves and not sad that they didn't get there sooner or do anything sooner. I mean, that's fantastic that they tried. They could have absolutely kept going, just thinking, what is he doing? Thank God they at least attempted, to do something. I hope that they felt good about that. Was that really difficult for them, or?
I think it was a very difficult thing because the man didn't make it. So I think it was pretty tough on them, but I think they knew they did the right thing and that they did try.
You know, one of the things I wanted to bring up too is we look at this, you look at February, you look at the different months, the different events, the different themes, and I know that over the course of the last several weeks, and Sue, you're all over this stuff because you're constantly doing seminars. You were just in Chicago yesterday doing some different things, to try to help make a difference. But these are truly things that we all can do to help save a life, to help be there. And I think these are great things. I think you would agree as a mom, as a young person, and I know it gets you talking. It really doesn't, if we could talk to our significant others and our children about these types of events, you're hitting it dead on. I never thought that I would come home from work and my wife would just collapse. And looking back, from that day forward, and that happened many years ago, but from that day forward, it completely changed me on like 10 levels where you're very in tune with your surroundings and the stuff, that's going on. What's your thought?
I do. I think that is such a good point. You never expect it. I mean, like you said, someone can just literally fall over, and I think the quick action from anyone around you is the key. So, I mean, if you are somewhere and you do see someone that you maybe in a weird position, not the most comfortable, so you don't really think they're sleeping, check it out. The worst that's going to happen is someone's going to be grouchy at you. Say, I was taking a nap. I mean, honestly, check it out. You might save someone's life, or at least do the very best you could have. You will never second guess what you did. I think that's a fabulous story about your son. Really, I mean, you should be proud of him. He should be proud of himself that they went back. That's tough, and I know embarrassing, especially when you're talking teenagers. They don't want to go bother somebody else, especially some big older man they don't know. You know what I mean? Right. They don't want to do that. So I think that's fantastic and absolutely important. It's easy to have it be a relative and you just can't keep it together, because your emotions are first. I think in that aspect it's more difficult to do it, because if it is CPR or any emergency response, when it's a stranger, you kind of kick it into gear because you're not as overwhelmed by thinking of the loss as you are when it is your spouse, your children, any family members. So very good points, I think. Is there anything else that we should be aware of that we can do to maybe help save someone that you do see collapse or that might be unresponsive? I mean, just start that right away. Trade-off is okay. That's the other thing people need to know. It's okay if you get tired. What if you're all alone and you get tired? Are you able to take like 2 seconds? I mean, what do you do?
You've just got to try to keep going. I mean,
Adrenaline at that point. You're praying for adrenaline to keep going.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And I think that it does kick in if you know how important it is that you just keep going. You find that inner strength that you need to keep going. So yeah, that's the main thing that people, they just need to remember. Call 911 and start that heart, that about 2 inches down into the center of the chest, hard and fast. That can save lives. And it's a very basic principle. And if we can just get that public awareness message out there, that this can keep that blood flowing till the defibrillation gets there, and that can save lives.
On the class front, as we're looking to actually, do this, like, this is great. I'm so glad that at least, because now it reminds you, okay, I know how to place my hand, and, and basically what area is this you're basically using the bottom part of your hand, you're using like the heel, thank you, the heel.
Yeah. And basically you're because you're keeping your arms straight, and and pushing them together. Your arms are locked and they're straight, so you're putting your body weight into that. So that's why it's a lot more effective, because you're actually putting that oomph in there. So
It's funny you say that. As soon as you told me to do it the right way, because I tried it and you always kind of like doing a Mary there. I was like, what are we doing here? I don't hear the click. That's like, I don't hear the click. But then you do it and then you do feel it. I will forever have that in my mind.
I know this is going to be a funny question, but if someone were to want to purchase a little blow up Annie for the teaching of your own family, is that an option?
I believe that American Heart Association has them for sale. I think on their website. So these kits are also put out by American Heart Association. Here is actually.
Let's grab this real quick, please.
I've seen it on their website.
Please.
They also have a DVD in here that I usually play part of that takes you through it. And there's actually a teenager in the DVD that has saved a life that she came upon, and that's a true story. She came upon this man that was collapsed, and she said there was just like 10 people like all standing there looking at him, and nobody really knew what to do, but she had this CPR training, so she started the hands-only CPR on this man, and he did make it. So
That's a great story.
yeah.
This says CPR anytime. This is the hands only, correct then?
Yes,
And
yes,
Does the little blow up Annie come in this kit?
yes, yes. Yeah.
She fits in the box.
Interested in that. I mean, I think that's a fantastic way if your family's not going to go take a class, which I realize is inconvenient. And, like we're just discussing, where are they at? We had to kind of, we weren't for sure either. So to be able to purchase a kit with the DVD, instructions, and one of these little Annies, that would be a fantastic, everyone should have one in their house then, just like a first aid kit. That is,
Look at how Annie's folding over here. Annie's folding in the box.
Annie's slumped over. We better, Annie, are you okay?
So see, she just, I deflate her, and then I just put her right back in this little box here, So,
Yeah, don't do that. I was going to say, and the good one-liners here again. We won't even go there. Yeah, but actually, you know what? If you could flip that around, please, because what I'd like to show is this is actually the 1, 2, 3. So you've got the inflation, and you've actually got great pictures and directions to use the mini Annie. Obviously, from step 1 to the securing of once the ear is in there, to obviously the head coming out, and now to actually use the doll itself.
yes, and she's very easy. So then, you take her out of the box like this, and then you blow her up, and then in a couple of minutes, she's ready to go.
I'm kind of digging this thing over here.
Can I point out, too, on the back, I'm just holding this way, there's actually a website on here that says www.shopcpranytime.org for these kits. I think that's fantastic.
And I see the American Heart Association logo and emblem on there as well. So obviously, it's the real deal. And I think this is absolutely a fantastic tool that we could use.
It's a tool I wasn't even aware of. Like I said, when you're bringing in dummies, I'm imagining the old school dummies that I had learned on many years ago too. And on the back there's this picture. It's a family. Look, I think that's so important with those children. And I love this. I didn't even realize that this was a thing. I think it is a fantastic point. Thank you, Sue, so much for bringing it.
Yeah,
I mean, and bringing more awareness. I think it's so important.
Yes,
definitely
American Heart Association has been recommending hands-only CPR since 2008. So they've been recommending it for, 8 years here. So I think it's just catching on with public awareness. I've had these since, I believe, either 2013, maybe end of 2012, beginning of 2013. So I've been trying to teach the community since that time. So, but I've actually seen it in the news here quite a bit just recently, and of course it is American Heart Month, so we're really trying to focus on things like this and saving lives.
I think it's absolutely wonderful. I think your scope of this, and you're easily doing, 100 people. I'm thinking to myself, she's going to a school, there's a couple hundred kids right there.
Yes.
Surpassed your goal of 100.
Can I throw this out there too? So as you're doing this, you're looking for, the school factor. You're going as young as you said. About what age would you say? Because I'm telling you, my daughter, I was thinking when you said that, my daughter had to be I'm thinking that one is 18, the other one's 22 now. She probably was 6 or 5, and that was so intelligent. And I think some of the children are so intelligent. I would easily have no problem after she saved us all, showing her how to do this.
Oh yes, yes. I mean, I recently did do fifth grade at Notre Dame Catholic School in Michigan City, and they were such a wonderful, enthusiastic bunch of kids. They were very effective, and they were into it. They had so many questions. They were great. So, but that would probably be about the youngest. But the thing is, to get the word out there and teach anyone, because they can also tell someone what to do.
Absolutely.
They could be like, hey, mom, dad, brother, sister, this is what you need to do. Push hard and fast in the center of the chest. If a child even, in kindergarten, I mean,
right.
and they can also call 911 while someone else is doing the hands only CPR. So, you're never really too young, because the whole important thing is you can't hurt someone that's dead.
Well, and you plant that little seed of knowledge. I have my youngest two are 4 and 6, so preschool and kindergarten. I would love that they even are aware of what to do, even though they couldn't physically do it. Just even if they don't share that with someone else, as they grow, that's something they won't forget, just because it's there. And when there is an emergency, that will, probably spark some, memory of at least learning, being told what to do, even if they couldn't do it. Even letting them try it and not being able to be effective, they still would understand. I think that's so incredible. I absolutely will check this out. The website, again, just in case, is www.shopcpranytime.org, or again, call IU Health Report Hospital to find out if you're interested in an actual physical class.
I think too, I want to bring this up as well. God forbid mom's alone or dad's up on a ladder, and your two little ones are alone. They're playing in the backyard, and something happens, and dad cannot respond. Those two, I'm telling you, you go through something like that, like you and Sue were both saying, you don't realize that this can truly affect you until it does affect you. And then when it does, it will forever change your perspective and your outlook on, on life. I want to talk in a second about your unbelievable peanut balls that you brought in today. Absolutely incredible. But I want to throw out there, we've got some great shows coming up, and we're going to have some fun stuff. Why don't you chat about that for a little bit?
Just the rest of this week, tomorrow we have an author by the name of Dana Ayers. She's actually been on Good Morning America. She's been on numerous TV shows, and she speaks of being persevering and resiliency. She calls herself an unlikely runner, running for the unlikely runner, and making yourself get out there. And it's okay if you're slow. Like, it's a little bit of a comedic take. At least that's what I get from it. I'm very interested to meet her and talk to her. She's going to join us on the phone. And Friday we have Mayor Milo coming, so she's going to actually come to our Studio B where we are today, and going to talk with us like that. So Skype with us. So that will be great, and we have tons of questions for her, about our community in general. But I'd be interested to bring this up to her too, and ask her if it's training. I think it's absolutely important for the schools. I think that's the best point, in the 911 stuff for the young children. Something that's I found interesting with my own kids. We've discussed 911 from the time they're very little, but them actually doing it in practice is so different, because they don't use the phone. And not only that, they're so used to cell phones. If I'm talking to someone and they was, let me say hi to daddy or whoever, they're used to that. It's very different to pick up the house phone or a cell phone and know how to get to the dial pad. It's so important for them to know then you dial 911 and you wait. I think that's important. They don't get that. They just want to push buttons, So I think that's important, and something I think we're going to re-practice at home our own selves.
Hi, Grandma. How are you?
Yeah, they're just talking. They don't have anything going. No one's, on the other end. So I think that's something we definitely need to practice. But tomorrow's going to be a really fun show. We're always talking about exercise, and I'm interested to find out. I joke that there's no point to run unless someone is chasing you. That's always been my theory on running. So I'm interested to see how she can make me enjoy running a little bit.
And I'm going to throw this out there too. There's a lot of us, including myself. I would bike anytime, swim, walk on the treadmill anytime before I would, run. And that's, it's a preference. But I'm always worried about, I'm always worried about my knees. So I'm going to ask these types of questions. By the way, Mayor Milo kind of splashed on Gerard Media's WIMS that she was going to talk about Fitness Friday, and the date is out there for the 2016 season. The first Friday initiative will be April 15th. So very interesting that it is tax day, just to let you know.
That's for sure. That's funny. So I'm really looking forward to talking with her. I've got a bunch of questions for her. Just, she is such an advocate of healthy living, and I think it's important. She does such a good job of being an example for that too, and kind of spreading that around. So that'll be a good conversation on Friday. And, we always have, next week we're going to be talking 3D printing, always something different. So it's just, we have a whole bunch of stuff planned. We're always looking for new things too. So it's always fun.
And Sue's rocking here. What were you going to say, Sue?
I just wanted to say if anyone is interested in having me teach their group Hands Only CPR, get a hold of me because I'm more than happy. I have 10 Annies. It's a very quickly learned thing, but it's great for people to be able to practice it. Next week I'm going to do, not next month, actually, not next week. I'm going to do my daughter's health class at St. John's Lutheran School here in LaPorte. The 6th through 8th grade has a health class. So I'm going to go in and teach them the Hands Only CPR. So yeah, let me know if this is something that you would like me to do.
You're awesome. I love your energy. I love your scarf. I love you.
Yeah, let's try those. These are heart healthy snacks. Let's go ahead and try those.
Do you want to try?
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna be real honest with you. I already had her balls, and it was really, really nice. That's the behind the scenes crew laughing over there. I have to. So please talk about these because we try these. My daughter Devin made something I think pretty similar, but yours are very, very, oh gosh, here we go. This is not a skit. They are, what was that?
Good. They're more moist. They're equally as good. They're just, these ones, they actually feel like cookie dough.
In other words, she was ripping on mine.
No, I loved them. I thought they were fantastic. And it impresses me that his 17-year-old or 18-year-old daughter takes she likes to make things. And she says, here, these are healthy and good. And they were delicious. They were good. So I tried yours too when you came, and they were just they actually feel more like cookie dough to me.
Can I throw this out there? I have to ask you this. Okay, so these are heart healthy, correct?
Are heart healthy, and I believe I'm going to be back. Am I going to be back in March to show how to? I think I'm actually going to make them maybe on a show. On a show on heart healthy snacks. So these are a heart healthy snack. Yeah, they've got flax, oatmeal, what else? Let me think. Peanut butter, dark chocolate, and honey. There we go. I'm having a
You're having a meltdown.
Exactly. So yeah, I am addicted to them. I eat them every day because I don't eat a lot of I don't eat cookies, I don't eat cake, I don't eat cupcakes, but these have no hydrogenated oils, no butter or margarine, just the peanut butter.
So is the peanut butter in this? I want folks to know because I have to tell you, I pulled away. I don't eat cookies at all anymore except around Christmas time. And if my mother makes a batch of Kolachkis or something crazy like that. But these are so fantastic. How many of these do you eat a day? And are these so these are good for you? Come on, I want to know because I could easily eat these all day.
I do, my daughter recently, she is going to be, well, I don't know if she's going to be doing it now tomorrow because we're under a blizzard watch, but in health, they're supposed to bring in a healthy snack. So she printed out a thing and she has the nutrition printout of how many calories. And so I'll bring that with me when I come in March for National Nutrition Month. But so I really can't tell you off of the top of my head. They are not low calorie. Because, they have peanut butter, so they're not really necessarily low calorie, but they are fairly small. So, but, I probably eat between 2 and 4 of them.
You're such a liar. She goes for 30.
2 and 4. I'm that would be breakfast with morning coffee.
That is so unnipple. Rick Federici is 4. It's
breakfast and then
and 4 for lunch.
That's right. There you go. No, they are delicious.
No, because I like to have one after every meal. So
can I try one?
Yeah.
Again?
Yes.
Are you gonna have one again?
Yes, they're extremely good. So yeah, I like one with my coffee. In fact, this is all I've had so far today because I was getting ready for the show. And so I had a cup of coffee and one of these, and I'm like ready to go. It's just my little, pick me up. I like them after a meal for that little sweet treat that.
That's just it.
That's what I would do.
In the evening, we have dinner, and then you crave something sweet. You
Yeah.
really.
No, you're right.
This would be fantastic. A fantastic alternative to.
A glass of wine.
Oh,
My new best friend.
Sue, and it's got to be red wine for red.
Heart health. That red wine is good for your heart. Yes.
And I will say, absolutely phenomenal. And I could stop thinking about it, saying to myself, everything in moderation. I'm not going to say this to be flip, but I really don't care about the calories, because if I'm eating something that's good, and if you said, okay, Rick, you got to stop at 2 or 4, if you have to stop at a few, I would, because I could see myself eating that. And I got to be honest, there's a lot of us out there in the business world. I rarely eat breakfast, although more recently in the last 6 months, I've been eating a lot of oatmeal, but the plain oatmeal mixed with bananas, honey, and cinnamon, or I blow the bananas off, and that's what you know what I'm saying?
Walnuts too. Do you like walnuts in there? Have you tried that? That's great too.
It's walnuts in the oatmeal.
In the oatmeal, yeah, that's what I have almost every day.
So do you go plain, or do you have like a maple type, or do you have like a flavored kind of oatmeal?
I just take the plain, but then I add usually a little honey or sometimes maple syrup, the natural maple syrup,
Not the bad stuff.
not the bad stuff. Yes.
So can you help me with that maple syrup? Because in my head, when you said that, I would be more than happy to get the correct maple syrup. But how do you know if it's the right one? You see what I'm saying?
You just want the 100% maple syrup. You don't want the ones that they're like half high fructose corn syrup. So you have to read the label, and just make sure that it's pure. Back to labels, it's pure maple syrup. And I should throw out the same thing with your peanut butter. You don't want these hydrogenated oils. And I will say that the majority of peanut butters on the shelf do have the hydrogenated oils, and those are the trans fats, which you want to avoid at all costs.
Hey, I need help on this, because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a peanut butter kid. I could do peanut butter daily. My daughters love peanut butter. My wife does not like peanut butter. She doesn't like it at all. But I think picking out the right peanut butter. So you're saying to me that I'm just going to say it like this, a lot of the bigger brands, the brands that we would know, Iffy J and Ippy Skay, that's Pig Latin. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if those are, but that is. Thank you so much.
Want those? You do not want those brands. Yes, those brands that you've been eating your entire life, that you've known since you were a kid, that are probably on your kitchen shelf. You want to ditch those.
Really?
Yes,
Are
you
you
want
able to find the all natural at a normal store, or do you have to go to just a health food store?
No, most
Regular.
and in fact, the store I shop at, they have the store brand, and I think it costs probably less than those national brands that we're talking about. But what you're looking for is a peanut butter that the only ingredient is peanuts and salt.
And that's not hard to find.
And that is not hard to find. You will find it. You will find it on your grocery shelf.
Why don't we go with Sue shopping?
We talk about labels a lot, and that's something else in March, being National Nutrition Month. We're trying to get a couple dietitians that we've talked to before, and have them kind of help us out, or possibly go to the store, or Rick and I go to the store and come and show them and kind of say, help them help us, to teach us to read labels. You know what I mean? It is intimidating, and it always goes back to the label. I love that you said that too, not even talking about normal nutrition, just in general. You got to read the label, and we're trying. That's right.
That drives me nuts. I'm thinking about the peanut butter now. I have to throw away that big jar that was $7.
And on March 10th at 6:30 at IU Health Heart and Vascular Center, I will be having Stephanie, a registered dietitian here from IU Health, come to my group, and she will be talking about label reading. So anyone is welcome to come to this. She will be talking about good fats, bad fats, sodium, sugars, carbs, and really focusing on label reading. So very important thing to educate ourselves about. So when we do go to the grocery store, we can say, oh, is this bad or is this good? So she will be there. Stephanie, registered dietitian here from IU Health. 6:30 on Thursday, March 10th in the Heart and Vascular Center, the conference room.
I think you and your people need to be here. Maybe Rick Federici could be here too. That could be something very cool, because that is, for me personally, that is the hardest thing to wrap my arms around. I'm so confused by the labels. I sit there in the store and I am not kidding you. It says 9 grams of protein, 32 grams of carbs. I put it right back because I'm like, oh, too many carbs. But I don't know if it's good or bad, or if it has sugar, or if it says trans fats, saturated fats. Crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely overwhelming. I mean, we had, trying to find those healthy chips the one time was a joke, because it is deceiving. You hate to feel like that jaded person that just is skeptical of everything, but you really are, because it's overwhelming. You read these labels and we realize they're trying to sell their brands, but you have to say, so which is the least of the evils, I suppose. It's definitely difficult and overwhelming. And I say, if you're going to go to the meeting, that would be fantastic. Bring a notebook. You're going to need to take some notes.
Yes.
We also have Chef Melody, we've talked about before, who is a vegan chef. She is going to Skype with us in March too. So I talked to her yesterday, and we're trying to nail that down. And if we're going to focus on just nutritious snacks, that's what I talked to her about a little bit.
You need to get the Tofu King back too, as well, Chef Brad Heinzling.
I know it. I love that he can be the Tofu King, but he can also have Bacon Fest go on, because he finds balance in all of that. He says there's a spot for all of it, and I love that.
There's a special place in our heart for you, Chef Brad.
Yeah, I know it.
So that is one thing that I really enjoy, is your knowledge, your intellect on these subjects, because quite honestly, if you can help us help, our extended family, listeners and viewers, I think people are doing that. And one of the things that I want to throw out there soon, you may not be aware of this, we had a wonderful young lady named Jackie and her colleague, Jenny. They have kind of thrown out a challenge to us, and we threw one back to them. They are going to start working with us and utilizing some of the techniques and some of the education that we're throwing out there for more of a healthy living type atmosphere. And they're going to work with us, and they're going to be popping by this upcoming Monday.
Pop in on Monday. They're interested in learning. They just really don't know kind of where to start. The journey towards healthier living, basically. So, and they said, we'll do whatever you want us to. Well, we just certainly are not going to make them do anything that we wouldn't ourselves do. But
get down and do 100 push-ups.
And I say I could. No, but they are fantastic, and they're going to pop in Monday. We're going to kind of figure things out, where their starting point is, kind of focus on what their short-term goal, like say maybe 2 weeks out, for them to come back, check the numbers, see. We're going to kind of chart their progress and talk to them Monday for just a few minutes to see kind of where we're going to start. So.
And here's my challenge to you, young Sue. Since you are alive and kicking and you're rocking it hard in our backyard, we accepted a challenge yesterday with a young lady named Stacy Kellogg, and she is talking about hiking and doing all these great things. Her knowledge on that is unbelievable, but she wants us to do a day hike. Would you be up for doing a day hike with us?
I would love to do a day hike. Yeah. Yes, that's wonderful. That is so exciting.
And it's
yes,
family
count
friendly.
me in. Count me in.
It's family
yes.
friendly, going to be family friendly,
Wonderful.
because I know
Wonderful.
especially a couple of my older kids really want to do it, and they're
Yes,
really excited about that topic. So,
Yes.
okay.
Well, on behalf of us all at Younger Life Live, thank you, Sue. Mary, I'm Rick Federici. And Sue, thank you so much for all you do, and I love the balls. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm Sue Klebeck. My passion is heart disease awareness. Thank you for having me. And I hope that everybody learned hands-only CPR today. Thanks so much. Save a life.